Primordial wisdom is what is underneath the received wisdom, the stories, the categories, the logic of the mind that is received from a society. It's the wisdom of the uncivilized person, wild soul, and it's the wisdom of an animal. You go outside of the human realm, you go into the woods where you have your hands in the soil, and after a while, you know something. You maybe even can't put it into words, but you know something. Maybe you know who to trust. Maybe you know what to do. That's primordial wisdom. When you have access to primordial wisdom, people drawing on their own primordial wisdom will recognize it. Like, what are you doing? How do you know? You can recognize somebody who actually knows something. We can distinguish true knowledge from self-righteousness. So by drawing on and trusting our own primordial wisdom, we actually also become an agent of the awakening of primordial wisdom in other people in society. Usually the transition involves some kind of breakdown of the experience of separation. We become imprisoned in our own fortress. It becomes uncomfortable, intolerable, cracks spread in the walls, and the ceiling caves in, and maybe we still are afraid to step outside the doors. But eventually, as it gets more and more intolerable, we also get glimpses of the world outside. We have experiences that show what it is like to live in a much more expanded self that includes others. As this transition proceeds, we become more and more receptive to other stories of self. All of our problems today are the result of our incoherency. What causes that? This is not just like some moral failing. It has very deep historical roots, predates civilization. And it is basically the aspect of othering, of dehumanizing some and including others, dividing the world into the good guys and the bad guys, us and them, putting oneself on the team of the good guys, and thinking that the solution to the world's problems is to expunge it of evil. When we heal that, all of the other manifestations of othering, of separation, will also be within our reach to heal. Separation from nature, separation from the body. So that's the keystone of a new world. During COVID, society was more or less in agreement, for good or for ill, that this is important and we have to do this thing. Once we have that coherency, any problem is easy to solve because the powers of humanity united are almost limitless. The mindset of, we messed it up really bad, it's not very helpful actually at this time. It just actually perpetuates the cycle of the war on the self, where we become our own enemy. And it's still the same war mentality. Here's the bad thing that we have to conquer. If you ever are in a state of despair, where the problems look too big and the forces arrayed against change too powerful, you can be sure that you're missing some information about how the world works, that you have taken on the ideology of the oppressor, which says that the world works through the exercise of force. Once you buy into that, then it is indeed hopeless. So access the part of yourself that knows better and that has had experiences that prove it. Experiences of, say, meaningful coincidences, synchronicities you didn't make happen. They didn't happen by force, yet they unlocked whole new worlds for you. If those actually happened, then what? If you actually take those experiences in, they completely unravel the whole paradigm that we've been brought up in. So you got to take those experiences seriously. Anything that happened to you that would qualify as a miracle that you just can't explain, if you take that in, it will unlock the intelligence within you that enables miracles to become part of your lived experience and part of a much larger system of causality. And in that larger system of causality, despair really has no place. Love is a kind of a miracle, actually, in the world of the separate self. Like, why would anybody love you if they're separate from you? It's crazy, but they do. Like, if you really let that in, that is a powerful medicine as well. It's not hope. I am quite certain that we have the ability to solve the problems that we've created. The path that we have chosen to walk, for very good reason, actually, has all these problems built into it. And these problems together are an initiatory force. Like, we need these problems in order to move on to the next stage of our existence as a species. Used to be a runner, a distance runner. At some point you think it's never going to end and that each step is futile. And then you crest a hill and there's the finish line. And everything changes. The intensity increases. It's a completely different experience when you have, like, in your body the knowledge that it is going to end. This long, grueling marathon that we've been in is changing character. The finish line doesn't represent utopia and the healing of, all of the illnesses of the world. But the time where it seemed that each exhausting step was futile is ending. And the results will become visible of the seeds that we planted and tended for so many years without any sign of life. Like, this is happening right now. So that's a matter for celebration.